Ever wondered why your blog is not driving traffic like it used to? Or why tracking which marketing channels get credit for a sale feels nearly impossible? You're not alone in that. In today's video, we'll explore how digital marketing has evolved over the years, from the rise of blogging in the early 2000s to the omnipresent strategies of 2025. We'll go into the evolution of blogging as a marketing tool from the early 2000s until present day, and why blogs shifted from being traffic magnets to engagement powerhouses. We'll also discuss multi-touch attribution. We'll touch on what it is and why traditional tracking misses the mark in capturing a channel's true impact, and why you need to be everywhere online in 2025. Imagine it's the year 2005. You hit publish on a blog post and then you just watch the visitors pour in. Your blog is the traffic engine of your business. Fast forward to 2025 and the landscape looks completely different. Your blog posts now face stiff competition for attention, and simply publishing blogs is not enough like it used to be. Meanwhile, your potential clients and customers are hopping between Google, ChatGPT, Instagram, Facebook, etc. before they actually make a purchasing decision. In this video, we'll connect the dots between these shifts. First, let's travel back to the early 2000s and see how blogging became a marketer's best friend. Blogging in the early 2000s was like talking on a megaphone on a quiet street. With fewer publishers online, a well-optimized blog post could dominate search results and cause you to be heard loud and clear. In fact, companies that started blogging reaped big rewards. If you had a blog back then, you probably remember those days fondly. But as the years rolled on, everyone started a blog. By the 2010s, social media burst onto the scene and people began to spend more time on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Many even feared that blogs would become obsolete. Instead, blogs adapted. Smart brands focused their blogs on in-depth, niche content that social media posts couldn't provide. Blogs then became the place for expertise and storytelling, while quick updates moved to social. Fast forward to 2025, and blogging is still a cornerstone of content marketing, but its role has shifted substantially. Today, a blog is less about getting instant traffic and more about engagement. It's more about education and trust. With millions of posts published daily, standing out means offering quality and value over quantity. Modern blogs aim to turn one-time visitors into loyal readers or customers by providing depth and authenticity. In other words, your blog post is now a tool to build relationships, not just grab clicks. A recent report put it perfectly. Blogs offer a unique space for brands to connect, educate, and engage with their audience. They're not just platforms for sharing information, but tools for building relationships, trust, and brand loyalty. This tells us two things. Blogs remain a powerful way to attract and nurture leads, and the content has to be genuinely valuable to rise above the noise. Simply put, in 2025, your blog is your engagement hub where you build authority and keep your audience coming back for more. It might not single-handedly drive all of your traffic like in 2005, but it still plays a critical role in keeping and converting the traffic that you do get to your website. So if blogging today is about engagement and trust, how do we measure its impact and the impact of all our other marketing efforts? That's the question that people want answered. Marketing attribution can be described as the science and art of answering the question, which of my marketing efforts actually convinced this customer to buy? In the old days, we might credit either the first touch, say for example the first blog visit, or the last touch, say for example a Google ad click, and we'll call that attribution. But today's customers often have multiple touch points, and being that they have multiple touch points with a brand before converting, we have to look at multi-touch attribution, an approach that shares credit across the interactions that led to a purchase. For example, imagine a single customer's journey. They first find your site through a Google search, and then later through searches on ChatGPT, and then later they might look at your social media, and finally they'll go directly to your website and make a purchase. Multi-touch attribution tries to assign partial credit to each of these touches instead of just one. And that would sound ideal, right? Because it gives a more complete picture than single touch. However, even with multi-touch models, attribution is tricky in 2025. The reason for that is because traditional tracking methods have huge blind spots. Many attribution models oversimplify the customer journey and fail to capture its true complexity. There are many reasons for this. For example, not every interaction can be even seen by your analysis tools. Think about, for example, a word of mouth recommendation or a private chat between a customer and their friend about your business or product. Traditional tracking can't see that. As one article noted, the traditional tracking methods fail to capture the impact of the private conversation on the customer's decision. Marketers are left with incomplete data and are unable to accurately measure the success of their campaigns. These invisible interactions, often called the dark funnel, leave marketers with incomplete data. In our example journey, if our customer was also influenced by a friend's WhatsApp message praising your product, that influence is essentially invisible to your tracking. And this goes back to the point that customer journeys are not linear or uniform. And external factors like, for example, sudden news or a competitor's sale can influence a purchase. Traditional models don't account for those external influences, potentially giving credit to the wrong channel just because it was visible. The bottom line is, many tracking methods fail to capture the full impact of each marketing channel on a sale. One method that I recommend is a post-purchase form where you can simply ask your customer how they heard about your brand. Those aren't perfect either because people often forget where they actually first saw you, but it's a good starting point. So should we give up on attribution since it's not perfect? Absolutely not. It's still crucial to measure what we can. The key is to use the right tools and stay aware of limitations. Modern analytics platforms try to help. For example, GA4 introduced more robust cross-channel attribution than Universal Analytics had. And there are also many dedicated attribution tools that you could choose from. So the next question is, how do we make sure our audiences even encounter all of this content that we're creating? In 2025, one of the keys to marketing success is omnipresence, having your brand present across the channels your customers frequent. Now, omnipresence does not mean literally everywhere, because that would be impossible, especially due to budget constraints. But it does mean strategically covering the major touch points where your customer is likely to be. I suggest starting with SEO and digital PR. Why? Because search is still king for discovery. And even large language models like ChatGPT and Perplexity, where do they look? They look on search engines for a lot of their information. Simply investing in a press release and other forms of digital PR can help you substantially and significantly when it comes to making your brand visible in AI searches. It also makes sense to invest in content and SEO for the queries that your audience is searching. For the purposes of AI search, you want to make sure to make it clear what your company does and who you do it for. This way, AI is more likely to recommend your brand for those relevant queries. Ambiguity is your greatest enemy when it comes to AI search. You also want to make sure you're active on social media. The reason for that is because aside from actively searching, people also passively discover brands on social platforms. In fact, Instagram is now the #1 channel for product discovery. And it's not just Instagram. Whether it's X, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's TikTok, etc., Social media is where consumers spend a lot of their time. They say the average social user spends about 3 hours per day across platforms. So if your brand constantly and consistently shows up with valuable, engaging content in their feed, you build familiarity. And as you build that familiarity over time, they're going to trust your brand more. They're going to look at you as the expert in that particular field. So focus on the one or two social platforms most relevant to your audience. Share the content that resonates with people. And the goal is to create touch points where people enjoy interacting with your brand. Now, while doing this, you should also run email marketing in the background. Think of email as the glue that holds your omnipresent strategy together. It's a direct line of communication to people who have already shown interest by subscribing or signing up for your content. And also remember that being omnipresent doesn't happen overnight. You start with solid SEO content, one or two social channels where you can consistently post, making sure you have those FAQs and information about your business clear on your website and online for those LLMs, for those AI searches to pick up. And you want to make sure you have an email capture on your site as well. And you want to put your lead magnet and email capture in the description box of your social media profile. So let's say, for example, you have a lead magnet that's, let's just say, a book that goes into details about your industry and how you can help. You want to make sure that's in your social media profiles as well as your website. Over time, you can expand into other channels, but nail the basic ones first. Be searchable, be sociable, and be in their inbox. There's an old marketing adage known as the rule of 7. It says that a person needs to see or hear your marketing message at least 7 times before they'll take action. And that was a handy rule of thumb in the advertising days of the past. But now in 2025, do you think 7 touches is really enough? Probably not. Modern consumers are inundated with information and they often take a winding path to purchase. So according to recent research and recent analysis, it suggested that the required number of touches varies a lot depending on the situation and the industry. But a 2025 study found that if someone is already somewhat interested, say a warm inbound lead who signed up on your site, they might need 5 to 12 touch points on average before they feel comfortable to actually make a purchase. But a cold prospect, which is someone who has never heard of you and isn't even actively looking, could require as many as 20 to 50 touch points. And that's not a typo, 20 to 50 interactions in some cases. So what's the big picture? Well, marketing is a multi-touch, multi-channel game now. Blogging and email can help build the relationship, but omnipresence ensures you're visible. And attribution data helps you refine as you go. When you put these together, you create a marketing engine that not only attracts potential customers and clients, but makes them comfortable and confident enough to become loyal buyers. Hope you found these insights helpful. If you did, give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more up-to-date marketing strategies. You can also reach out to support@SEOrankmedia.com if you want to reach me directly.